the New Hanover County school system had shut down this building, Virgo Middle School. I did not like that. The test scores here evidently started dropping. Performance-based data was indicating that the core subjects were not meeting the expectations of the state.
I followed the school when it was being shut down. I knew that there was a lot of protesting from the community. When I heard that it was being reopened, I was extremely excited about it and wanted to be involved in any way that I could.
What happened with the Blue Ribbon Commission, they had a high rise of crime on the north side.
They've actually taken a map and created a youth enrichment zone. Basically, the youth enrichment zone is compiled of data that suggests that those are some of the highest crime rates here in New Hanover County.
And the issue of violence, violence and gang activity is very prevalent in this area, and our kids are exposed to a lot on that end.
So they formulated an organization that would not duplicate other organizations. It would be a conduit for all organizations to come up under.
The Blue Ribbon Commission was actually heavily involved in helping to get the school reopened. They were actually the advocates that went to the school board to help get the school reopened. Initially, this school was designed to be a charter school. So the school was allowed to still reopen, not as a charter school, but as a public school, using this unique model that had been designed, having extended school days, bringing in these enrichment activities so the kids had more exposure.
I have put together with community volunteers the opportunity for our kids to learn and to experience life through the eyes and the assistance of artists and paraprofessionals and volunteers that come in to provide their services and their talents for our kids. If a child sadly loses their enrichment privilege, that means either that child Monday through Thursday or Friday morning has gotten some type of administrative referral.
They are written up, they lose enrichments, that's one of the prices that they pay, and they are torn up about it.
For some of our children, it's that enrichment privilege that actually might be the motivating factor to do better. You know, the rest of their friends and colleagues and peers are going off to, play basketball or fence or learn the next dance move or the step team move or, something of that nature. And they're getting herded off to the loss of enrichment zone. That's usually a quiet, reflective zone. It's not a punishment. They don't get yelled at. They don't get lectured. It's more of a, let's sit in here and we're gonna occupy this time with silence and reflection. What choices could you have made better in the circumstance that got you here that hopefully will allow the child to reflect so that the next time they're in a similar situation, they make a better or more positive choice? And it's frustrating because you get some kids that are frequent flyers of the loss of enrichment session. We're missing something in those children. If they're continually making poor choices, that means their vocabulary of choice making is limited, and that's our job. Our job is to give them a better, more positive vocabulary in the realm of making rational and positive choices.
That's the difference in the community today. If you could find some kind of way to instill that back in, where children, there's a consequence for your action, not at the school. What's the consequences when you cross that threshold, when you come to that door back home? What is the consequence going to be? And if the consequence is going to be nothing, then you're going to have EOG scores go down, 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 and keep going down because there's no consequence at home. So what we did, with the no covers enrichment, we handpicked. We went down the list. We said, give me everything that you don't think is going to make it out of here. Give us every male that's been suspended from school several times, multiple suspensions. Give me every one of them that have low grades, low attendance. Give me every one of them at risk. Every male that you feel right now is at risk for not making it to high school. Give them us. And that's the group that we assemble here.
The challenges are directly aligned with the issue of poverty. I mean, our kids, we've got 95% free and reduced lunch. a lot of our kids are living in situations where it's a struggle just to get their basic needs met. That's a challenge that from, I guess, the community or their home life spills into the school.
Their difficulties trying to express themselves. How to express, and that's one thing we teach them, how to express yourself properly. How to, I always tell them, think 5 times before you speak. Just think for a second. When you teacher that made me mad, think, 3, 4, 5. Now, speak.
It's not so much motivating the child as it is the entire family. We've got to reach into the community and remind, if not instill in the community, that school and grades are important. Education is important. Myself and my colleagues here, we can do the best that we can to put that into the forefront of our child's daily application, behavior, and grades. But if it's not being supported by the families that they go home to or the community that they spend the remainder of their days in, then it's like starting all over every single day. And that's a challenge.
And that's where we come in with the Blue Ribbon Commission on the other end, working with the families and working in the community to try to do whatever we can to give our kids what they need to be able to be successful despite what they're up against.
One of their many visions and aspects is to really focus on the children of the Youth Enrichment Zone and allow them the opportunities to see the pathway to make better choices.
But it allows the kids to have exposure to a multitude of experiences that they may normally not have been able to participate in. Seeing our kids participate in fencing or playing golf or even doing crocheting is pretty amazing.
Also, too, with the enrichment coordinators, it's just kind of great for them to kind of be able to give back to the community. So I think our kids are kind of really are growing and understanding what it is to be appreciative, to having something that never had before.
So we look at the fact that last year we were 98% in attendance. Our kids wanted to come to school. They knew it was a safe place. They felt like they belonged here. When you see a student from the beginning of the year, the marked changes that can happen just because they've opened up and learned to trust their teachers and the support staff and those relationships, those are the things that we celebrate. We look at the small successes of a student that maybe used to get suspended almost on a day-to-day basis that is now going to class, paying attention and participating, in sports after school. And parental involvement's huge too. If we see a parent that's consistently involved, that's a big thing.
It will be a loss if our kids wouldn't have this enrichment piece for them. I think it really helps build their inner core, their self-purpose. There's a relationship that has been built. And I think a lot of times, one thing that kind of lacks in an environmental, like an educational environment, is the relationship, because we're all about teaching content, but sometimes we get so busy, we don't have time to teach, we don't get time to get to know our kids. Well, it's been great to see how the kids have gotten to look forward to seeing these enrichment coordinators. I mean, they meet them at the door, can I help you? I mean, they're like running, it's good, it's great to see how excited they are, but the excitement's not so much based upon, in my opinion, upon the enrichment itself. It's based upon the relationship that these kids have gotten with these enrichment coordinators.
What you expect in education is to see those small strategic goals being met, and then there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of faith that fellow educators along this pathway and fellow adults and peers along the pathway will help guide each and every one of our children to a better future. Because let's not forget, our children's better future is also our better future.
We've grown by leaps and bounds. I can name 50 kids right now who were so difficult to teach and so difficult to calm down at the beginning of the year that have just done complete 180s. They've come so far. I'm so proud of them. Even in Enrichment's first semester, it was touch and go for a while because their behavior just wasn't cutting it. And I think by not lowering those expectations and by saying, okay, if you can't handle enrichments, your behavior, you don't seem to want enrichments, they'll be gone, they turn it around pretty quickly.
But we're blessed to be here. I think the children understand it's a blessing. Without programs like ours, I don't think these children would have a fair shot.
Without this entire enrichment program, there's no way I fully believe our school would be successful. because, if we only teach a child math, science, language arts, and history, we're only truly engaging half of their brain. Data research shows that it's through the arts, it's through the study of the performance arts, it's through the enrichments that our children are engaged in that utilizes both sides of the brain simultaneously. And if you're engaging both the creative and the analytical or the mathematical side of your brain at once, you are stimulating the opportunity to make that child better in all academic arenas. We have a beautiful partnership with Dreams right down the street, Theater Now. All these assets, really pull together the love and the support that allow our children the opportunity to see that school right now is not just about reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's about so much more, and can be about so much more, such as life. Every single one of our providers are so very professional and have created a personal relationship with me, but they're also volunteers. So in the life of a volunteer, things come up all the time.
A lot of times folks come and they want to help because you're dealing with low income black children that may not know how to not blow up. And so you got to be built tough to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, especially if you're coming in on Fridays. You're coming in one day. You're coming in expecting them to just be orderly. No, it's not going to happen. You have to be built for this kind of work.
I'm hoping that our kids will understand how they were given to, that becomes a reciprocal thing, that when they become adults in that point in their life, they remember how they were given to and they will want to also give back. And it's like it will be a continuous cycle. So I think it's just, again, a unique opportunity that these men and women within the city have offered to our kids.
They are incredible, and we are indebted to them for coming every single Friday and giving their time and just being there with our kids and loving our kids, even though our kids are tough sometimes. And it's just amazing to see so many people come out and see how they're invested in this project. And we've seen the same volunteers that I even helped recruit last year coming back for a second year.
Yes, well, the kids are meeting people from the community's seeing what we're doing here.
Without the enrichment program right now at our school as it stands, we would not be teaching the whole child, as education practices always indicate that we should do. The idea that this enrichment program is centered behind is enhancing the entire child. And that's what an enrichment is. An enrichment is, a gift to an individual that specifically enlightens or allows their opportunity in life to be better.
The Blue Ribbon Commission got the money for us. So all of our girls are participating for free. They get the program, they get t-shirts, the water bottles, they get to run in the race. It's completely paid for. On top of that, New Balance donated through the BRC, through that grant and the YMCA. And so they got new shoes today. They're so excited. So girls that have been running 3 miles in Converses or in dress shoes because they don't have really good running shoes now have brand new New Balance tennis shoes.
I found that the most successful part about this program is that a lot of our students would never be exposed to the enrichments that they're now being exposed to, either based upon location, transportation, or funding. And so I see them becoming more well-rounded because of the enrichments.
Our martial arts instructor doesn't just come in and teach the basics of martial arts. He comes consistently and shows our young people what it's like to make a commitment and see it through. Our hip-hop dance instructors don't just come in and teach our children dance. They come in consistently with positivity and support and encouragement. Their vehicle might be dance, but the message is so much greater. And so we have to understand that some of our kids are not getting that consistency in other arenas of their life. They're not getting that positive encouragement in other arenas of their life. They're not getting that attitude and that motivation to persevere in other arenas of their life. And sure, our teachers are dynamic, and we do a great job in math class and science class, social studies class, and language arts to achieve that. But the communication is sometimes a little bit more open and an enrichment opportunity, because even though it happens here at school, it's not like the kids are in class. It's a beautiful family of struggles and reality and honesty and hardship. And that's from the adults and from the kids, because we all make up this DC Virgo Preparatory Academy family.